Hi guys, it's Ryan here. Just going to do a recap for the past 2 days in the markets. Just starting with Thursday. Just going to adjust my charts to reflect the trades. Give me a second. So obviously starting with some higher time frame. What we saw Thursday. Obviously this is Friday. It's just this inside bar on Thursday. So we opened up gap up on Tuesday, and saw this breakout on this nice buying response away from the established bracket and value areas. And the next day we opened gap up and we saw go no go trade off the high of the previous day, and had a pretty strong close into Wednesday. And then Thursday we opened up inside day, and this is the day sorry, I'm getting mixed up because of the holiday here. So this was Wednesday, and then Thursday we had the crude oil inventories because it's the holiday on the Monday. So we opened up inside day, and we pretty much see a test of the high, and we just see balanced two-way trades. So we also, from this point of view, we're still one time framing. So one time framing, 1, 2. This is the third day of one time framing, fourth day of one time framing on Thursday. Even though we didn't put a new high, we still made a lower low, a higher low. Sorry. And so basically we're just looking to go from here. It's also a doji, so just an indecisive day here. And so let's look at this on the current composites and see what happened for this day. So this was Thursday. So we opened pretty much inside of the previous day's range, and in this sort of near the sort of upper spike area from K period from Wednesday, and we started to see rejection of value, and we just see very two-way trade in the market, and obviously crude oil inventories came out at 10:30, and nothing really, we didn't really see anything happen off the inventory report. Just not the usual report type of scenario we see, when the market just sort of reflects the report straight away. And in E period we just see this massive, we pretty much sold off, and then we literally sold off to the value area low, and on ETH Vwap value area low, and we just see a rotation. Sorry, we didn't see it low, it came below the mean, and then we just see a rotation straight up from one side of value to the other on the developing value for the day. And you can see it more clearly on this RTH profile. So you can see just a sideways chop, and then 10:30 the inventories come out, and just still just nothing really to do, and then we see this spike down to the point of control, and we see responsive buying here right back up to the previous highs, and we just see no follow through, and we just see two-way trade come back into the market here. So just a very balanced rotational day. So just the market sort of catching its breath, pausing. I mean, we've seen this, like I said, this breakout. So let's have a look at the moving averages. We see the breakout here, and we see the gap up, and then the market saw more buying as higher prices were put in. And on the Thursday we were pretty much just waiting for get value to catch up with price. And what we see on the so what we saw was pretty much just the market traded in the upper distribution of this week's developing value, and we just couldn't find any buyers. I mean, this high was made in ETH, so the high of the 103.29 was made in the Globex session, and as you can see, the high in RTH was actually roughly the 103.08 sort of area, so which was obviously inside of this value area, and we just couldn't find any buyers. So obviously what happens next is we just test the mean, and then the other side of value when the imbalance is over. So obviously we got on Thursday, we saw a possible imbalance to the upside to continue, but it just depended on how we came in on the next day's trade. So obviously on Wednesday we just went sideways, and today we opened up inside of the value area again, inside of yesterday's range. So if we look at things from today, just let me get back here quickly. So this was today's trade, and we opened up in the lower area of Thursday's distribution, and let me just get the charts back to where they were here. Bear with me 2 seconds. So we opened up in inside yesterday's range at the lower end of the distribution, and we see responsive buyers back into the previous day's value area, and we had a second attempt, and we're bouncing off of the previous day's lows. I mean, you can see that this was the RTH low, so I established my first position from here, buying the lows, seeing if we could possibly target the highs with more balance coming in, but we just kept rejecting the previous day's value area, and then we see this imbalance to the sell side. So I got long here, and then I got my stop filled as we see this imbalance to the sell side, and once this had happened, you can see that we clearly formed this morning distribution, so A, B and C, you can clearly see, and in D there was a change in the market. We broke out in D period, and we broke out of the hold on 2 seconds, this is for even the S&P. Just bear with me. So you can see that the first 3 periods here just very balanced, and we formed the initial balance, and we just couldn't trade above it. And then in D period we broke out strongly. I mean, you could say we closed outside the initial balance in on that bar at 10:30, and then the next period came in, and we just see this just a spike down lower. So once I see this happen, and I got my stop filled on my core position, I mean, I managed to get one scale out, and I got a small stop just below obviously yesterday's RTH lows. That was my risk. So once this has happened, I just waited for the market to play out here, and we see this, like I said, this break down further, and value caught up with price here, and I got short of 18, I believe. So as value started to catch up with price here, and you can see there was an imbalance to the sell side, I basically just sold the developer value area low because there was an imbalance to sell, and then we see this next spike down, which I managed to get scaled out at, and we basically see a spike down to this week's developer value area low, and we see a pullback to this month's developer value area high here. So I mean, we're still looking very imbalanced to the buy side, and obviously time will tell here whether we're going to come back into value and see two-way trade come back into the market, or we're going to continue to see imbalance here on this monthly time frame. Just a couple of other clues here. I mean, we have established higher value for 1, 2, 3 weeks now, so 3 weeks of higher value here, and you could say that we were creating higher value here, but we were seeing overlapping value, and you can clearly see here that we've got we broke away and forming higher value cleanly. Some other sort of things that I'm looking at is obviously this bull channel that we're in, and you can clearly see here we sort of tested one side of value to the other. We've seen a pullback to the mean twice, and then we see this breakout higher, and we came up to the first standard deviation. And today we pretty much see a pullback to the developer value area higher for this bull channel, and we have this clear bracket in place. I mean, today we just basically see a small stop run, maybe taking out some weak longs here in the trend, and we just see a spike below this swing low at this sort of 102 area. It was obviously a fake out because we see the price came right back up into the bracket, and we found buyers off into the close here. So just see if we continue to reject value here and then continue to come higher, or we come back into value and we see a pullback to the mean on the other side of value. We'll see what happens here. So that's pretty much what I saw on Crude today, and I mean, with the current composites, I mean, this is what we were looking into going into the trade on Thursday, and you can clearly see we just held that upper distribution, and we basically went from the extreme of value to the mean price, and we can clearly see you just filled in some volume here. So when we merge these two together, you can see we had a clear distribution forming here with some excess here, and in today's trade we opened up at the mean price, and we sold off down to the value area low, and we just couldn't find any buyers here, and responsive buyers, and we basically come down and closed this this single excess TPO, and we came down to this next distribution down here just filling in some volume, it looks like. So if we merge this together now, you can see this this clear sort of distribution forming. I mean, we are starting to see this profile looking rather P-shaped, which shows some long liquidation here in the market, but we'll continue to see how this how we continue to develop to trade here going into next week. I think we'll leave it at that for today on the crude. I mean, we broke the one time frame cleanly today, so maybe possible two-way trade balance coming back into the market here. We'll just have to see what happens as we continue to develop. But obviously, one key thing is the 5 EMA is finally caught up with price here. So depending on how we open and where the market opens on Monday, will be to decide whether we're going to continue to see buyers step in here aggressively, or we're going to have to wait for some other value to catch up with the current price. To take a quick look at the SP500 today and what we see in the market and what we're continuing to see here. I mean, if we look again at the higher time frames, we look at the daily. You can just see that we auctioned down to this this bracket low, and we couldn't fill this gap out, and we just see nice responsive buying pretty much off of last year's value highs. Just bear with me. So towards last year's value area higher here, we auctioned down pretty much, we're pretty close to it, and we found buyers here. We've just come back up to this year's developing value area high, and just continuing to find buyers here and start to bracket and balance on the higher time frames. Who knows if we're going to continue to come higher, but we have a very poor high on the current auction highs, and as you can see, we're just dying to break this level and test the waters above here to see if we find more buyers, or if we come back in and see more balance come back into the market. But I mean, if we look at let's start with the monthly. We'll start with the monthly, and we can see that there's a strong imbalance to the buyer side. I mean, we've seen this whole month pretty much imbalance to the buyer side. We came back into the previous value area, and we found buyers here, and we see a mean reversion to the destination trade, to the high, and we've just basically been rotating up here at the at last month's value area high, and this month's value just finally caught up, and you can see the responsive buyers coming in here pushing price higher. So it'd be interesting to see as we continue to rotate up here, filling in volume at these highs. Obviously, as soon as value catches up with price here, we should see a move higher, or obviously the market come back in for a mean reversion. And that's obviously the story that's on this month's current value, developing value. And if we can look at this week's value, same sort of scenario as the crude. I mean, we had this 1, 2, and we've made a third higher value, but I mean, we've not seen a massive change, but we have formed higher value. But obviously this week's trade looks pretty balanced, but we did come down to this last week's value where we found buyers, and we've just seen the market come back up and test the extreme highs here. So interesting to see how we open up on Monday, going into Monday's trade. One thing obviously I'm tracking here, which seems to be working pretty precisely at the minute, is this current 240-minute channel that's in place, and you can see we've used some serious anchor points. I mean, we've got the 1, 2, 3 tests, and then the 2 tests at the highest, which will line up nicely. And we currently came down to the bracket lows, and we found buyers, and we start to rotate back up into value, and then we rotate back up to value to the mean, and back up to the value area high here. And since then, we've just been chopping with the value area high on this bullish channel, and we've seen a bracket start to form up here, a micro bracket, and you can see we just see a pullback to the mean again, and a rotation back to the high here. So be interested to see, obviously, as time goes by, the mean prices are going to continue to go higher, and the value is going to continue to go higher, and see if we can break up and test this first deviation. So just interesting view here, but obviously expecting higher prices and a new all-time high to be put in on this market. In regards to trading it, the S&P's been having some pretty good setups recently, and just going to go over today's trade, obviously. And you can see here, obviously, going into the open, we had a higher value established on the overnight trade, and pretty rotational. And as you can see, I mean, previously, let's go through the composite quickly. I mean, yesterday we opened, let me just split this out so you can see the days. So this was the composite previously, and obviously on Thursday we pretty much opened up in the middle of nowhere in the previous range, and we see a responsive seller to the asymmetric opportunity low, and which is the edge of this current distribution, and we see a peak below it and into that previous value from the composite, and we found a responsive buyer from here. And what we pretty much saw was obviously the extreme low and to the mean tested. So I mean, I had a good a drawing that I illustrated on Twitter. I'm going to find that quickly for you. So this is what I posted yesterday, and like I said, if we look at this as a distribution bell curve, I mean, this is the current composite that I'm tracking, and as I said, if we look at this as a distribution bell curve, obviously the mean price is here, and this is the current distribution we have in play. Obviously this is the extreme low, so the market auctioned down to the extreme, and then we see a reversion back to the mean value price. Obviously this illustration pretty much illustrates what we see happen on this market. And I do believe we actually tested the value area high, and we should be able to see this. Hold on, I've lost my chart now. So if we look at that on this current composite, you can see that we came up and tested the value area high, and we did take a peep above it in M period. So we merged this together into the composite, and what we see today was obviously we opened up at this sort of ledge and this the mean sort of point of control Vwap here, and we see initiative buyers pushing buying out of value here. So obviously they've found demand in this market, and as you can see here, we basically one time framed up to the distribution higher, and then we just see the one time framing get broken, and we just see basically two-way trade come back into market, and we just come back into this value on the composite. So again, we moved this in. You can see how the distribution is starting to form here. You can see that looks like we've got some more work to be done here. We've got no excess at the highs now, and obviously this is into the all-time highs. So we'll see how we can continue to play out here in this market. Anyway, I think instead of this video is running quite long now, so I'm just going to cut this down now, and hope you all have a great weekend, and I'll catch you tomorrow. But one thing quickly to observe here is the fact that we see when we see the two-way trade come back in, we see the market come back into value, and then we sold off back to the mean price into the close. So just interesting that we see that mean reversion play out into yesterday's mean price. Anyway, have a great weekend, and I'll catch you all on Monday. Take care, goodbye.